Carlos Prates by first round knockout. What can this man not do? What can he not do? Another masterclass. Let's get into it, break it down. Not much to break down. It was one round, but let's break it down real quick. Okay, so the first round, Neil Magny did what we kind of expected him to. He was kind of the first person to engage, really. We got Neil Magny shooting in for a takedown, and Prates actually reversed it. It was very interesting to see. Prates was obviously trying to get up, and Neil was trying to keep him down, but it didn't really do much. Prates got back up to the feet, and Neil got back up to the feet, and Neil actually started to land some decent punches. Prates is pretty hittable. He's never hittable clean, but he always can get tagged a little bit, right? He's always a fighter that'll take one to give one, and that's kind of what he did this fight. I mean, we got Neil Magny going in for a lot more takedowns throughout this first round, and eventually they just clinch up against the cage. Once Prates finally had room to break apart and finally had room to work, he started to stalk down Neil Magny. That's when Neil Magny, again, shot for a takedown and kind of got him into a clinch position, and then they broke apart once again. And this is when the finishing sequence starts. We have Neil Magny back up against the cage as Carlos Prates starts plodding forward at him. He lands a couple nice shots before this encounter, but not much really is done on Neil Magny's part. He just kind of gets hit a little bit and wobbles around. Commentary was saying that he was kind of on wobbly legs, but I think that's just kind of how Neil Magny is. But he did get hit pretty flush by that shot. And now let's get to the finishing sequence. This is really once Carlos Prates starts to really pressure Neil Magny. We got Neil Magny's back up against the cage, and Carlos Prates throws a left hand, but Neil Magny's kind of kicking his leg out, just trying to keep Prates away from him. Then we have Prates who throws a weird, I guess it's like a left hook. Yeah, it was just a left hook. And then, yeah, sorry, I'm trying to really watch it to see how the finishing sequence kind of occurred. It's like Prates throws a right hook, and it just kind of gets blocked by Magny, who's throwing his own straight left that catches Prates pretty clean. And then the final shot is that big left hand wound up by Prates that just sort of clips. It just clips the back of Neil Magny's head. Like not the back, the side right behind the ear. It just barely clips him. And Neil Magny is out cold. I mean, he went down hard. Watching it live, I was a little bit confused at what sat him down, but then watching it back, they show the replay a million times, and you could see that left hook from Prates just glancing behind the ear of Magny just sent him to the ground out cold. That's all it took was one round. What is the limit for this Carlos Prates guy? What is the limit for all the fighting nerds guy? As like a fighting nerds fan page, obviously that's what this is. In case you guys haven't noticed, I think Prates is going to have a very good 2025. And I think his 2026 is going to be even better. He's looking to fight already in February. His call out, at the end, he wanted to fight in February in Australia. That's where his daughter lives. He fought there previously this year. And he called out JDM. That was his first call out. Now, let's kind of get into that a little bit. We got JDM, who's currently ranked number 4. Prates, who's going to be coming in at 15 come Monday. He acknowledges that that's probably a little too far away, a little bit too high of a jump up on the rankings. But, I mean, if that fight can get made, that'd be very interesting. Do I see the UFC doing that? No way. JDM's way too close to a title shot to let that happen. Again, I don't know who I'd pick. I got to actually start paying a little more attention to those two guys. But I don't know. I don't know if that's going to happen. I highly doubt it. But he also called out Jeff Neal. Right? Was I saying Jeff Neal the whole time instead of Neil Magny? I hope not. Okay, I'm leaving this part in case I fucked up. He called out Jeff Neal, who's recently coming off a win against RDA via injury. So, Jeff Neal didn't take too much damage. That's a lot more plausible. I think Jeff Neal's lower ranked than JDM, and that seems like a lot more doable of a fight. That would be a good fight. I want that to happen. I don't want the JDM matchup yet, Carlos Prates. You just entered the top 15. I want you to fight Jeff Neal. I think this is a perfect matchup for him. I think that's a very good call out, a solid call out, and I think that's what the UFC is going to go with. UFC Australia come February, it's going to be Carlos Prates versus Jeff Neal. Book it now, quick, please, please. All right, this is the last thing. Okay, this is the last thing I'm gonna add in. This doesn't really have much to do with the fight, but it was cool to see Khalil Roundtree, Ozzy Osborne, whatever, and who else was wearing it? There's a couple other fighters. John Jones were wearing the Fighting Nerds glasses throughout the fight, and then at the very end, Aljamain Sterling as well. So it was cool. They all got a picture together. You got Kyle, who was in the crowd supporting his teammate. It was really cool to see all of them supporting Fighting Nerds as a team. I think that's a good look. Obviously, a very good team coming up. Excited to see what's next for the whole team. We got Marcio Ruffi. He's fighting next weekend against. That's going to be a good fight. I might pick that one to go the distance, but that's for later in the week. I'm going to have to figure that stuff out come tonight and tomorrow. But that's all I got for you guys today. An absolute masterclass, a murder by Prates. Prates absolutely murdered Neil Magny. Excited to see what's next. Don't forget, like and subscribe. I'm out.